Hi everyone, my name is Steve Miller with Smart Bear Corporation, and today we're going to be talking about how to unite your manual and automated test efforts. This is the first of a 5-part series entitled Best Practices for Planning Your Automated Test Efforts. Alright, well, let's get started. What we're going to talk about today is how to identify test cases that would be most valuable to automate, how to best organize your automated test cases from test complete, how to create manual regression test cases that just can't be automated, and how to schedule your automated tests to run periodically. For today's application, we're going to use a little application that we have on our hard drive called the orders application for demonstration purposes. And what this does is it's simply a little sample program that allows you to open up an orders file. So let's imagine that someone wants to place an order with you, and you wanted to be able to place that order as they call in. Well, to do that, they would have to enter in a new order for a particular product, choose quantity, that kind of thing. If you wanted to edit an order, you could do that from here. If you wanted to delete an order, you could do that from here. We also have some file management capabilities and some reporting capabilities. So if we're going to create some automated tests to test this, we're going to talk about the best practices for organizing those tests. Alright, so what would be the best practice for automation? First of all, we want to start small. And by small, we mean let's not try and overwhelm ourselves with all of the possible test cases that we could create for automation. By starting small, you just take a small subset of the tests that you normally would run in a regression. Those are called a smoke test. And for those of you that aren't familiar with smoke test, it's simply a set of 10 to 20 test cases that you're going to run on every release that you do. And by starting with automating those test cases, you can remove a lot of the complexity, yet get a lot of value out of your automation. So that would be the first thing you want to do, is start small. Don't try and do everything under the sun. Again, start with the smoke test, usually 10 to 20 test cases, and then build up to a bigger regression suite. Before long, you'll look back and you'll have most all of your test cases automated from the regression perspective, but start small first. Alright, secondly, our criteria for test automation normally is let's start automating the things that are performed frequently. So if you have a number of test cases that you run with every single build, those are good candidates for automation. And again, only the smoke tests there. Start with a smoke test of those. So the ones that you run a lot, those are the ones that you want to start automating more quickly. Secondly, if you have any test cases that are very time consuming, in other words, maybe it takes you a lot of time to prep the test case. Maybe you have to insert some database records into a database table. Maybe you have to go through a large number of screens to actually set the data up. If those are time consuming, then those are the ones that you want to automate first, because if you can save 3 or 4 hours in setting up data by automating that, imagine how much time you'll recoup in your test effort. The next kind of test automation that you might want to consider is automating your high precision test cases. And what I mean by high precision is if you have any test cases that take a lot of calculations or a lot of time to create, those are high precision ones. For example, let's say that you have a very complex mathematical calculation that if you have to test that manually, you have a large room for error in calculation. So if you can automate that, you can reduce the human error, and you can run those a lot more quickly. Now, when we're organizing a test cases, a lot of times people will ask us, well, how is the best way to organize it within your automated testing tool? And I always say that it really depends. It depends on how big of an effort you have. If you have a small effort with one automation engineer and just a few testers, then I would organize it within your tool by folders. If you have a larger effort that has multiple automation engineers, maybe multiple product lines, or multiple projects, then I would have a little bit more sophisticated organization method, and that would be by using project suites and then maybe even multiple projects. The reason you want to do that is you want to make sure that if someone checks something out, that you're not overriding each other's work. So by having multiple suites and multiple projects, you can have people check out just the things that they want to change, and you're not going to have the danger of overriding somebody else's work. And that brings up an important topic, which is source control. It's a really good idea to have source control. In other words, whenever you get ready to work on your automated scripts, check them out of a source control system like Subversion or TFS or something of that nature. Make your changes locally and then check that back in. Now what that helps you in is, let's imagine that you go and you make a change that causes a problem. You'll be able to roll back and get your prior version prior to the changes you made. It also works as a backup feature, because if your hard drive crashes and you have all of your automated tests on your local hard drive, having them under source control will allow you to restore that information. So let's pop into Test Complete, our automated testing tool, and let's talk about that integration. Now, if we were creating some test cases, some automated tests for this order entry system, we probably have some test cases that we're going to create for this file operation. So notice how we've organized these tests here under an area called file operations. So here's a test case for automated test for the file new feature, for the file open feature, the file save as, etc. We've also organized our list of orders that show the order detail, large icons, list mode, and some reporting and some smoke tests here. So you can see how this is designed for a small team where we don't have to worry about overriding each other's data. We've organized it by folder. Now if we have a much larger team, we would organize these by projects. Notice that this is the project up here. So by encapsulating your test cases into reusable projects, you could have multiple people work on that, share the information without running the risk of overriding the information. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Now, another thing that you might want to consider is that once you've got your automated tests created, it's also a good idea to keep doing manual tests, because whenever you do new releases of your software, it's a good idea to have a good set of eyes on those. So you want to focus any new features with manual tests, and then as those become stable in production, then you can automate those. All right. So how can you use tools to help you with that? Well, we have a product called Software Planner, and with Software Planner you can organize your test library into manual test cases as well as automated test cases. You can also organize them within that by functional areas. So here's the file operation features, here's the order listings, here's the order maintenance test cases. Once you have them in the library, you can start to reuse those from release to release, sprint to sprint, allowing you to reuse all of the test cases and run those in particular agile sprints or releases. From an automated perspective, you can organize your automation test cases into test sets. For example, here's a full regression test set here. It contains 12 smoke tests that we're going to run every time we do a build. All right. You can also run them on different machines. Let's imagine that you had different machines in a test lab and you wanted to run these. Well, with Software Planner, you can identify your lab and then you can schedule, for example, this full regression to run at a particular date, end on a particular date, run at a particular time, and see your run history day by day. All of this shows up on the dashboard and allows you to analyze day by day how many tests are run, how many have passed, how many have failed. All right, well, we just gave you a brief introduction into automated tests as well as manual test cases. Make sure that you stay tuned. Next month we're going to have some on-demand videos that discusses the topic for manual tests. In other words, best practices for those manual tests. Also, if you would like a personalized demo of Test Complete or Software Planner, feel free to call us at 978-236-7900 or sign up for a free trial at softwareplanner.com. Thank you for your time.